Welcome to our Alice last meetup this year. And let me introduce to you Fran Costello. And before actually we will jump into the session, a quick reminder, this is community for community group. So please be kind to each other. We represent more than one option and one perspective. We are here to support each other. Please remember those sessions count towards your CPDs. So if you would like to get a certificate of participation, you can count one CPD for 1 hour. So that will be 1 point. Please contact us within 7 days so we can verify you attended and we'll issue you with the certificate. And please, this is self-organized group. So when you're not talking, please mute yourself so we do not pick up any background noises. Fran will welcome questions at any stage. So if you would like to ask questions, just unmute yourself. If you raise the hand, we can see that, or you can just unmute yourself and look for the space and ask the question. If not, there will be a space allocated at the end of the meetup. And the cameras are optional. So we do understand you might be eating your lunch, but if possible, please switch on your camera because it's a nicer experience for our speaker to interact with humans rather than speaking to the black screens. And please let me welcome Fran.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining the session today. We're going to talk about individual differences. So why are we different than other people? And also work out what your insight colours are. So predominantly people are 2 dominant colours, but we'll get to that. And when we do the questions and you think, oh, that doesn't sound like me, that's okay, because we'll go through the slides and you'll be able to work out, actually what you are. I will encourage you, please, to put your cameras on or at least speak to me. So I've got somebody to sort of talk back to, because it's quite weird if you're just talking to yourself. So we'll get started. Maybe some other people will join after we've started, and that's fine also. Okay, so we're going to spend our time today talking about individual differences. We are at least 2001 recognizable personality traits. This measurement only measures the dominant 32. So there are psychologists out there who are saying, it's not valid and reliable, but actually it's a very valid and reliable tool. And it gives you a kind of conversation starter in your organization to say, well, what color are you? And the reason we use insights, it's based on DISC philosophy, which is really old. However, people can't remember what color they are. Their letters. So if we do MBTI, we do DISC, nobody can ever really say, what are your letters? I can't remember. I don't know. So this is why we use colors. It's much easier to remember that you're red or yellow or green or blue. They're just 4. So it's very simplistic. So why do we do this? What's the point of it? And I think the main thing is it's about understanding how you work with other people or how your relationships work at home. Because once you've got this tool, you can look at somebody and quite quickly work out who they are, what they are. And at home, for example, if you're living with a blue-green and you're red-yellow, there's going to be some discourse, about buying things or, what we're going to do for the weekend. So it's all about who we are and how different we are from other people. So when we're actually working in groups, we will find that we work differently from other people, but we still get the same answer. So we're all motivated. Our traits determine that we're all motivated for different reasons. Some people come to work because they just want to make money for the family. Some people come to work because they're passionate. It's their purpose. It's their way of being. And we definitely differ in our willingness to take risks. I'm a small business owner. There's a lot of risk taking every week, will this pan out? Will it not? But some people don't want to take risks, and actually their role requires them not to take risks because they've got to be in compliance. So we're all different and we all do different roles and we're all good at what we do because we're different and we make use of our time differently. Some people's way of actually recovering from work is to go read a book on their own, be on their own, get their energy back, more introverted behaviors than extroverted behaviors. Some people leave work, need to be in large groups to get their energy from people. So it's how we use our time. Some people love to scroll, doom scroll for, 2 hours at night. It relaxes them, but other people that doesn't work. So, and we all make our decisions completely differently. So, based on our traits, what are our traits? So, when would this actually be useful for you? So, it's really useful when you're working in special projects where you've got to quickly work out who people are to make a project successful. Um, it's really useful when we're dealing with change. And we'll come to that in a little while about how people deal with change and which colours can deal with change more easily. And then it's great for planning. So if you're going to put a team together and you think, right, I need a real mix of these personality traits, this is a really useful tool for that. And it's also useful for delegating. So would you give to a yellow person something that requires a lot of detail? No, you'd be giving it to a blue or a green. And again, we're going to get to that, what it all means. It's good for onboarding people. It's a great tool, actually, when you're recruiting, to think about what have I got in my team already? What else do I need? And use it to actually recruit people. It's great for selling and making decisions about things. As I said earlier, when you're recruiting, when you're interviewing, from if you are, for example, a red person, you might just want the answers to be very succinct, bullet points. But actually, you might be interviewing somebody who's green, who's going to talk a bit more. And it's just about being mindful of where your traits lie and where theirs might lie, and what are you actually recruiting for. And it's absolutely the best tool for communication. So if you have got a pitch to a client who is red, you wouldn't go in with masses and masses of detail. You'd be a succinct PowerPoint. This is what we're about. If they were yellow, you might want to put pictures on it. If they're green, you're going to get into that detail and you're going to remember about the people. If you're blue, it would be more maybe figures. Blue people love a spreadsheet, so it might be more figures based. But the important thing here is nothing's wrong or right. We are just what we are. And we're normally two styles dominant. We've all got a different behavioral profile and a different traits profile, and nothing's better or worse than the other. And the differences in style are the value, really. So once you can work out what people are, it's harnessing that value within your organization so you get better communications and healthier organizations. So the key thing is that it's good for influencing people. So if you are walking into a room of blue-greens, which normally would be the IT department or the finance department, and you find a lot of blue-green profiles in those departments, it's about, if you were a red, giving people time to explain what they're doing, how they're doing it. I have a finance director I'm coaching at the moment, and she's struggling with the overall global finance director is saying, no, I don't want it like that when you go to the budget meetings. But she's really struggling because she's green and blue to actually not do the detail. He said, I just want the facts. I just want the top notes. And so she's struggling a bit with it. But this is why. So it's quite understandable. So it's all about how do we kind of almost mask our dominant traits to influence people better. So it's not about labeling people. It's not about having a good or bad style. Each style has got its own strengths, own limitations, and we're all a blend of these styles, but some are more dominant than the others. Okay, so this is where I require you to come off mute and talk to me. I'm just going to ask you what you can see there. These are old images. You might have seen them before, but what are you seeing?
Who haven't done this exercise yet? What do you see?
Richard, I can see you're off mute. What are you seeing there?
So we have a comment in the chat, a
Oh.
young lady and elderly woman, and the other person says two people.
Uh-huh.
I see a young girl with long hair wearing a hat with a bow on the back of the hat.
Mm-hmm. Do you see anything else?
And we have another comment. I see the young lady first.
Does everybody see two things?
I don't.
Okay. So you're seeing this young lady, but you're not seeing an old lady.
Correct.
Okay. So I don't know if you can see my
Okay.
mouth.
Yes, we can.
here is the chin of the old lady with her mouth here. She looks a bit witchified. She's got a big nose. This is her eye, and her hair's quite long.
Oh, I can see now.
See it? Right, cool.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. And what do we see here?
The two females looking at each other and a candle thing with a candle lit at the top.
Mm-hmm. Do you see two people or one person?
Two people looking at each other.
Anybody see anything different?
You could see one person like behind.
Okay, cool, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So it's interesting. This is the one where everyone was arguing, and I have to say, I can only see gold and white. I don't see anything else. Is anybody seeing anything different than that?
Well, I cannot see gold or white.
No, no.
I think you're joking with us, Fran.
Ooh, no, really, truly, it's gold and white. I promise it is. What color do you think it is?
Blue and black?
Really? You
I
see,
see,
I don't
I see
know.
blue and brown. Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah, I see blue and brown. Yeah.
And Sharon's seeing gold and white. Yeah. Okay. So it's interesting because we're all seeing exactly the same thing here, right? Same image, same data, but we've got different views on it. And what the kind of issue here is that we all see something, but we can't always appreciate the view of the other person. And actually, one of the key things is if we don't check with people, we're just making an assumption. They're like us, they see things like us. So this really is the crux of it about being different, about appreciating everybody's differences. So what I'd like you to do, I hope you've all got a pen and paper, is to draw 3 columns on your piece of paper. And in the first column, go down the page writing 1 to 16. Okay. Has everybody done that? Could you just give us a thumbs up or let us know in the chat if you've actually done that? Thank you. Thanks. Everyone's done it, Kathleen. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a number of questions. I'll explain the questions as I go. And if it applies to you, don't overthink this, because if you overthink it, we'll get a false positive or a false set of data. So I'm going to ask you these questions, these descriptive statements, and if they apply to you, put a tick in your second column. If they don't apply to you, just ignore it. Okay, we're ready. So, are you bold and determined? 2, can you unite the team around shared values? This might not be work values, it could be, you might be ahead of the brownies or something like that. And you need to get your team of people, around whatever the values are of an organization or something outside of work. So can you do that? Number 3, can you create a lot of ideas? Number 4, have you got a keen eye for detail? Number 5, can you see both sides of an argument? 6, can you interact easily in social situations? 7, can you cut to the important tasks? Can you just get rid of the noise and focus on the really important stuff? 8, are you careful and modest? Okay, are we all still with me? Yep. Cool. 9, can you handle routine tasks easily? 10, do you always see the best in other people? 11, are you expressive and persuasive? 12, do you set a fast pace? 13, can you bring certainty to decision making for people? So, for example, if you're in a large global, people at the top say we're going to do this, then you've got to filter it down to your people, for example. Can you make it certain for them? You know, if there's a big change coming, can you make it easy for them? 14, can you master intricate technical details? Well, I can only say about this one, can you do flat pack furniture? And the answer for me is no. Our engineers will go, yes, that's easy. Okay, 15, can you work to align people around the vision, values, and behavior of something, whether organization, whether it's a different group? Can you get people to work together? And number 16, are you an empathetic listener? Okay, so hopefully you've all done that. And can you just let me know in chat again or thumbs up you're still with us and you're ready to move on? Yeah, thank you. Okay, so now in your third column, where you have got a tick, put R for red, G for green, Y for yellow, B for blue. Hope that makes sense. So you've got 3 columns going across. In your third column now, if you ticked a yes for number 1, you put a R, because at the end, we're going to add up your colours. We're going to see what's dominant. So if you put a yes for number 1, it's a red. If you put yes for number 2, it's green. If you put yes for number 3, it's yellow. If you put yes for 4, it's blue. 5 is green. 6 is yellow. 7 is red. And 8 is blue. I'll give you a minute just to catch up if I'm going fast. So you're only writing it down if you ticked yes in the first set of cards. Okay, next look. 9 is blue. 10 and 11 are yellow. 12 and 13 are red. 14 is blue. 15, 16, green. Okay, have we all got that? Again, do you want to just put your thumb up or put in the comments if you're ready? Yeah, good. So what we're doing now is adding up how many reds do we have, how many yellows do we have, how many greens do we have, how many blues do we have?
I have 3 blues, 3 greens, 1 yellow.
Okay, so you're a blue-green dominant. That's good to know. Anybody else?
I have 4 reds, 3 greens, 1 blue.
Okay, so red, green.
And then we have from Yvonne, blue and green.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Anybody else want to share? Blue and green from Fergal. Red and blue from Oleg. Anybody else? Yes, 3 of each yellow, blue and green, and 2 red.
3 of all, each one? No.
Yeah, I have 3 each of yellow, blue, and green, and 2 red. From
Okay.
Kathleen?
Okay. So Kathleen, whilst we're going through this, I would just check again as we come up with, what does it mean? Because you'll find that 2 are more dominant than the other when we get to it. Okay. So what does it all mean? It's a really interesting kind of outcome. We've got a diverse team, which is great, which is what we want. Even just in this small group, we've got a diversity, which is fantastic. So those people who are green-blue would tend to be more introverted than extroverted. What does it mean? So introverted people get their energy from actually being on their own and having time to sort of recover from whatever's happened in the day. And then we've got the red yellow people who tend to be more extroverted. You'll hear them first in the room because they're the first people to speak. They are very action orientated. They've got an outward focus. They are very outspoken and bold people. And then you've got your blue greens who are really observant. In a meeting, they're sort of sitting back, watching what's going on. They always ask the killer question. They wait for time to sort of input. They're not sort of like straight into your face. They're more sort of, thinking about things. You can see the pondering. Their focus is on their inner self. They are very deep people and they're thoughtful and cautious for sure. So, but in the middle, just to complicate, we've got ambiverts who are a mix of both. Just like ambidextrous, you can use both hands. So there's always people who can work with both of those styles and need some time on their own, but also love being with people as well. So it just depends where you are on that. But generally, if you're blue-green, you're more introverted. Red-yellow will be more extroverted. So, and then in terms of how do we think? So blues and reds, similar in the way they think, strangely. They are more analytical, very objective. Let's get it done, task orientated. Quite correct. The blues will be more correct than the red, to be honest. And the reds are extremely strong-minded. Almost a lot of MDs, a lot of CEOs are red people, pure red, and it's quite difficult to deal with them because they are set. This is what we're doing. This is how it should go. And then when you sort of say to them, but have you thought about this? Because they always want to be right, which is quite bizarre. And then we have the green and yellow people who are really about people. If you're gonna have a party, the yellows will invite everybody. The greens are really considerate. If you're drunk in the middle of the night, stuck in a strange city, your green person's going to come and pick you up. The red person is going to say, if your car broke down, for example, we've got AA here in the UK. The red person will say, are you in the AA? We'll ring them. The green person is coming out to get you. So you can really see this difference in traits. So the yellows and greens are all about people, very considerate. They get involved with people. They're thinking about how people might feel. They're relationship orientated and they're quite accommodating. Whereas the blue and red might not even consider the people element of projects. So we need that green yellow to say, yeah, that's a great idea, great project, but where are the people in it? So we need to think about that. In terms of how we think, blues are extremely logical and analytical, but green also have those traits. Blues enjoy problem solving. They need time to reflect, as do greens. So if you've got something that's got a deadline, give a false deadline because it's going to take them a while. But what they bring to you will be correct. The research will be correct. So you need to give them time to actually go away and do the work. They need to understand the detail, and blues in particular are very strong on duty and structure and disciplined. A lot of blue people work in kind of either IT, finance, in compliance, and they're well suited to that. Greens are also well suited to that, but are more able to sort of deal with the people aspect of it. So greens, as I say, are very considerate, caring. They will go out and they will get everyone's opinion about a project. Reds, yellows, not so much. So just get on with it, just do it, which is not always the best course of action. So, yeah, hello, can you speak? No. So greens don't like conflict. They always involve other people in the decisions, or go out and ask people what they think. They respect other people. They're very loyal and always want to get a democratic solution. Reds are great as CEOs, MDs, if they're measured with another colour, because they're bold, determined, they get stuff done. They're confident, they're optimistic, they enjoy really stretching goals, they can see the big picture, they're leading it from the front. You'll often hear them say, so let's just do it then. And you're like, whoa, 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 hang on a minute. Let's think about that a bit more. Yellow people, very free-spirited. They bring the energy to the room. You can spot a yellow from miles away because they're generally really optimistic people. They're positive. They are spontaneous or imaginative. A lot of yellow people work in marketing, for example, because they'll come up with 100 different ideas every day. 5 of them will be great, 95 will be rubbish. So you have to sort of keep yellows in check a bit because they're quite out there, but we need those out there people in an organization. We need people to come with that innovation. So, as I said before, nothing is right or wrong about any of these profiles. It's just that we're different and we need to work with that difference. So I'm just about to play these videos and I want you to write down what you think they are and we'll have a little discussion about it. Are you ready?
I drew up an outline that we can work from. I put the notes from last time in the back. I don't think the way we were doing it before was working. So they're still in columns, but they won't clutter things up. Then, if an issue comes up, we can still see the progression. But why don't you take a few minutes, read it through, then I can go into a little more depth.
What do you think? If you want to put in chat, which colour do you think they are? Okay, we'll see at the end. And next one.
I drew up an outline that we can work from. Sure, I'm up for anything. The more the merrier. You just tell me when to show up. Oh, and make sure you invite Ian. Or even better, I'll give him a call. I've got to catch up with him on his trip. Oh, and you know who else we need to call? Barb. She's got an idea a minute. She's great. We were at lunch the other day and you wouldn't believe what she was coming up with.
Okay, what colour do we think? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think it works. It's fine. Let's go with it. And then the other thing I wanted to get moving on was the invoices. We've got to churn those things out if we're going to get done by the end of the month. Whatever it takes, if people are working on non-essential stuff, we just pull them off for the next couple of weeks. We get everybody on this. No excuses, no messing around. We just get it done.
Okay. Thoughts?
I'm more than happy to take care of it. And if you need a hand with the files, just let me know. The system can be a little difficult to figure out at first, so I could save you some headaches. And, if you do want to change anything, if you could let me know ahead of time, that'd be great. It's just that, Aaron works with the same system, so I don't want to throw him off, just in case.
Okay, what do we think for the last one? Okay, so in no particular order, no, in the right order. And the first one is blue, correct? For all those people who got it right. The second one is yellow. A lot of you got it right. Next one is red. You could see that in the traits. And the last one, green. So well done. Most of you got it right, which is great. So it's about learning how to actually use this in your working life or at home life. So I'll give you an example. in lockdown, my other half says the Hoover or the vacuum cleaner is broken. I said, right, okay, so let's get another one. So he is blue-green. So he researches on every website which is the best Hoover he should buy, which is the best one, and it does this, and it's got this power, and da, da, da. I was like, okay, well, I just like the green one. Can we have the green one? Yeah, but you haven't read all my research. I said, I don't really need to read it all. I like the green one. So what a difference. I'm red yellow. He's blue green. Polar opposites in buying anything, buying a car, buying a vacuum cleaner, anything. Just the complete opposite. So I'm really interested for you to think about yourself, your top colours, and then think about maybe your top 5 reports if you've got them. If you've got 5 reports at work out what they are. I'm just going to be quiet for a bit. Or your partner and your children if you don't work, or if you don't have a team. If you just or the really important people you need to influence, just take 5 just to think about those people and what colours you think they are, just based on what we know already. So I'm going to leave this up here so you can see, the differences, blue, green, red, yellow, and just have a think, and I'll be quiet.
Fran, can I ask you a quick question? Can those colors change through our, life phases when we grow, when we change? Can those dominant colors change?
Here's the big question. So it's nature nurture. So we are born with our traits. And they shouldn't change. However, when we then have to be in an environment where it's not appropriate to be a pure red person, chances are you're going to mask that a bit and reveal something else. But actually, no, our traits don't change. Our traits are what they are for life. It's like our IQ, it's set when we're born. But we can actually change our behaviors. And this is what this is all about, being different than your actual traits to work better with people. For example, if you know you're going to enter a room full of blue and greens, you need to shut up and let them be able to speak and formulate thoughts, because it takes a while to formulate the thoughts. But as I said, they ask the best questions. Sometimes to compete, if you're not red and you're in a company where the dominant colours are red, yellow, you need to step up and sort of like make yourself more red. And that's just practice, because you need to get in there first. When there's a really competitive, if you're in a sales organization, for example, you'll find a lot of red yellow people, and you need to get your and it's quite difficult if you're the only blue green in a room and you're full of red yellows. When are you going to get a chance to speak? And we need to leave space for the blue green people to actually speak, and that's what's kind of negated sometimes, that they don't ever get to speak, and we don't get the best ideas because they're coming with properly researched ideas, and sometimes we lose that.
Thank you. Do we have time for one more question?
Yeah.
We have from Yvonne, won't that impact the colors? That was regarding to what you were saying, but I don't know if Yvonne, you want to specify the question to be more specific for Fran to answer.
Yeah, what does that mean, Yvonne? Won't that impact the colours?
We might get back to it at the end, Fran. So go ahead,
Yeah,
and then we'll
we've
go.
got time for questions. Yeah, is there an online disc test? Yes, there is. However, I don't know how good it is, because all of this is kind of got trademarks all over it. So I don't know how good it is, but yeah, you probably can find one. Yvonne's asking, due to behavior modification, will it in turn influence the colours? Yes, it would influence your colours if you were not being honest about actually who you really are. It definitely will dominate the colours, because if you have to be something different, it's not going to sort of show through. So yeah, definitely. I see people who can, one of my guys that I coach, he's an IT director, global IT director. He is pure blue, green, and leading towards blue, which is very introverted. But he has to sort of get his voice heard. So he has to sort of go in there, right, I'm going to be red today, and go into the meeting and, be forceful. It's completely against his nature. Okay. Is anybody prepared to come off mute and just talk about who they thought about and what colours they think there might be and why they think there might be those colours.
I thought about the directors in my company,
Yeah.
Fran. Like I was replaying all the steering meetings that we've been having lately, and I can see them between red and blue
Mm-hmm.
from the sense of wanting details, wanting reassurance, wanting data,
Mm-hmm.
but not having any of the green, apparently, or any of the
Yeah.
yellow even.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking. And as a blue green myself, I was thinking about how hard I find to engage and interact with
Mm-hmm.
those people and how different even I feel we are, even
Yeah.
from a value perspective, which makes it even harder to navigate some conversation. Would you have
Mm-hmm.
any advice for me in that case?
Well, it depends what you're talking about. If it's something that's process driven, that's kind of all right because it's a process. But if whatever they're talking about involves people, it might be quite good to just say that to them. Have you thought about the people in this? Because sometimes it just stops them in the tracks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Hmm.
I'm even scared to ask that question, but yeah, I might create the courage to do that.
Have the courage, it's fine. And it's quite interesting. If they haven't done this exercise, it'd be quite interesting for them to do it, to then understand where you're coming from in relation to them.
Yeah,
The kind of thing is, we can't change other people. We can only change how we interact and react to people. So they're probably just going to stay being, red and blue, and it's you, the green, that's going to have to
yeah.
raise those questions. Have we thought about the people in this? What are we going to do with them? Ask some difficult questions around the people that.
Thank you, friend.
You're welcome.
You see, it's very interesting because when I was listening to Coca, my first thought was, I think the environment sometimes really impacts how we behave, because
Hmm.
I definitely know some green people who, in the current market environment, there is so much pressure on them. It's like my job or your job. Forget
Yeah,
about the people, get the job done. I don't care how, get the
yeah,
job done. So I think also we have to take into consideration the market. Like, is it the normal behavior, or are they behaving that way now under the
yeah,
pressure they are on
yeah.
themselves?
Absolutely. It could well be that they're adapted to the environment for sure. And if you're expected to be, as I said, red, yellow to fit in with the company, you become more red, yellow. But actually, then when you get home, you're exhausted because you've been masking actually who you are all day, which is
Mm.
really not good for well-being.
Yeah, but I also like thought about one particular person, and I'm sure that person is, it's different. And now under the pressure, it's literal. It will be like, if this is not gone, my job, like there will be consequences. So people under the pressure, they completely change their approach. So it's even not that that person didn't like that person. I'm sure their color is different, but now they act according to the pressure.
Yeah. And also, what happens, you might believe that somebody can mask being red, yellow, for example, and pretend they're green. But when the pressure is on, you're going to see the red. You'll see that. "Yeah, let's just do it. Let's get it done." You'll see that change in behavior, and actually under pressure, our true traits will come out. So that's interesting. Mm. Yvonne, what did you? Sorry, not Yvonne.
There is a comment also in the chat. So the situation influences also the behavior. For example, contractor versus non-contractor.
It's true. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. It's true. It's kind of about fitting in. If you can't fit in, you're not going to stay in that company as a contractor. You have to sort of become almost something else. But as I say, it's exhausting to have to keep doing that because you're not really being yourself. Hmm. Okay. Has everybody thought about their top 5 people they wanted to think about? And is anybody else willing to share what they got around those people? What do you think about those people? And what leads you to think that they're either red or blue or green or yellow?
I could possibly share.
I'm more than happy to take care
Oh,
of
sorry.
it.
Sorry.
And
Stop.
I thought someone else was talking.
need a hand with the files, just let me
Sorry.
know.
Oh,
The
no.
system,
Stop.
That's all right.
Right, okay. Karen, sorry.
Yeah,
Fire
no,
away.
no, just I think I'm the one that had like blue, green, and yellow, but I think probably I'm more blue, green in the end. But then I think some of the people that I work with the most are the more red and yellow side, especially the red. So it's just interesting to see how that interplays. So I'll be interested to see what strategies you have for working together.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
So what difficulties do you find working with the red yellows? What do you experience?
Sometimes they want to charge ahead when I think maybe it's not a great idea. I think we should
Hmm.
put a little more, I'm not saying slow down, but like you know, like if this document in their mind, if it's like 50% done, great, send it to the customer. I'm like, maybe we could get it to 80 or
Yeah.
85% done. I don't know,
Hmm.
kind
Yeah.
of thing.
No, that sounds very typical.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to
Fran, can
move
I ask
on.
you, can I
Oh
quickly
yeah,
ask you
sure.
one more question?
Yeah.
Does it change with kids? At what stage that we start seeing those traits in kids?
Oh, early. So in psychology, we've got 7, 14, 21 as the kind of milestones. You'll often say, there's even a saying, I think, that says, show me the man at 7 and show me the child at 7 and you show me the man. So around by 7, you'll be able to really tell. Yeah. I mean, give or take a few. It's not exact. It's not an exact thing but around that age, between 6, 8, you'll be able to see. Most people, if say somebody's got children on the call now, they'll probably, if their children are of that age, they'll be able to see quite clearly, how they look in terms of these colours. Good. So let's think about weaknesses and strengths. So blue-green people particularly are very realistic about actually, if you've got a issue in an organization, they're very realistic about the solution to that. They focus on the detail, they're considering all the facts. Strong work ethic, I've said that before, brings the clarity, gets stuck in and stick to the principles of something. So in compliance, absolutely fantastic. In IT, fantastic. In finance, fantastic. They're not going to make it up. The issue with blues is that other people may see them as being emotionally detached because they don't really like people that much. It sounds odd, but they don't. They're just in the detail. They're doing the job. Sometimes they do like people, but don't want to express they like people. Hypercritical of themselves and obsessive about details. So you want them in finance. You want them somebody doing your numbers who's a blue. Absolutely. They're quite slow at trusting people and they are not the most demonstrative people. If you're seeing red yellows, they've got the hands and they're kind of like this, and they're very sort of compact in themselves. And sometimes they're constrained by the rules. They say, no, the rules don't say that. And there's no room for negotiation on that rule. The rule is the rule. So green people are, as I said earlier, excellent with people, dedicated, loyal, trustworthy, get the job done, are kind and considerate to people, will go and ask people how they're feeling. If you've got greens in your team, because they're saying to people, how do you feel today? Whereas the red might say, how do you feel? And do not even wait for the answer. They're off before the answer's even. Green genuinely care about people and they can see both sides of arguments. If there's a conflict, they're a good person to go talk to because they can always see both sides of things. They are very steady, very reliable people. Difficulty again, similar to blue, is that they appear to lack urgency. It's not that they appear to lack urgency, it's because they're in the detail. And what they bring you will be correct. They can be a bit indecisive, again, quite self-critical, can get a bit stuck in the detail sometimes. One of the people that works with me, he can get a bit stuck in it and can't always see the wood for the trees, which one shall I do first? What should I be doing first? I'm not sure. And constantly checking with me, is this right? And initially I thought, why does he keep checking with me? Because I'm ready. It's like, yeah, let's get it done. let's, get this business over the line sort of thing. But he would constantly check in with me, and I thought, why is he doing that? Is he underconfident? No, it's not that. He just wants to make sure it's right. So and I'm used to working with him now and giving very long deadlines so that he doesn't miss one. So, there's ways to accommodate that. Red people are driving the business. They are wanting to win. They are very result focused and like challenges and are quite powerful people normally. But the downside is that only the results matter, not the people. They can be quite controlling. They can rock the boat. Sometimes you'll see quite angry reds, literally the colour red, the seeing red. Can sometimes not be very tolerant towards people. Often they're not listening properly. They're listening, but on a very surface kind of level. Level one, level one is where you might be typing and listening. Level two is where we are listening, but I've already got the answer in our brain. We're searching for the answer in our brain. Level three is where we are literally, our brain is empty and we're fully listening to somebody. So they don't often listen at the level three. It's often one or two, sometimes defensive. And action overrides the planning. So you need the green person behind them saying, hang on a minute, have you thought about this in detail? We're not just going to go off on and do something. We need to think about it a bit more. And then the yellows are the most positive, enthusiastic people you'll ever meet. They are sociable. You want them in charge of things like the engagement in an organization, communication in the organization. They are open-minded, generous people and real, zest for life, can see the bright side. But the downside is sometimes they miss the detail. They can appear being quite disorganized, a bit all over the place, a bit floaty, talk a lot. Their time management might be a bit poor. Everything's to excess, and sometimes they talk a bit much. But if we don't have that in the team, we don't have the innovation, because they come with a lot of ideas, the yellow people, and a lot of colour, and presentations can be quite boring if they're done by blue-greens. A lot of spreadsheets will have a lot of images. So all of this together makes great teams. So if you were uncertain about your colours, this might give you a bit more insight into yourself and the other people you thought about. Maybe, you can think about them a bit differently. So how do you understand and work with each type? And these are the answers. I'm not going to read them out. You can read them because there are a lot of words. But overall, blue-greens, give them the facts, give them some time to go away, do it. Let them come back and be correct. Red, yellows, be on it. So if you've got a client that's red, go with the bullet points. Don't go with the massive detail. Just present the options to them. These are the options, right? Which one do you want? For your yellow clients, go with a good presentation with lots of colour, lots of pictures, lots of images. Look at them directly, right? Good contact, good eye contact. For the blue-green clients, make sure you have the detail. Don't just make it up. Make sure that the facts are there. It's in writing. Make sure you follow it up with an email in writing again. Give time for discussion and consider their feelings, because they're feelings people. So that's really important. So I'll just be quiet for a minute and you can read all of this. Okay, so we've got about a few minutes left. I would normally do this in a big 3-hour or even all-day session if I've got a big team of people together. But has anybody got any questions that they actually want to ask me before we kind of close the session?
No questions, Fran. Just thank you very much. It's a lot of content to cover and a lot of reflection for such a short amount of time. Yeah. So thank you very much. I wish I could bring you to do that with the exec in the steering meetings.
You should recommend it to them. Just say,
I will.
Yeah.
I will.
Come over
I don't know if they will listen to me, but I will.
Good.
I had a quick question.
Sure.
So, can someone ever be sort of two diagonal colors like blue, yellow, or red, green? Red, green seem inconsistent, but
they can. And
Okay.
that's where I was earlier talking about ambiverts. So actually you would expect the blue-green people to be introverted and then, extroverted on the other side. But then we get the crossover. And we do have people
Yeah.
who are ambiverts, so they can be red and green. It's quite a weird combination, or blue and yellow. So yeah, but it does happen. Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like I know someone who's a blue yellow.
yeah. It's an odd combination, but yeah.
Not me. Yeah, and agree with what the other person said. Thanks for the presentation. It was good.
Welcome. Sharon, you've got your hand up. Oh, Sharon, I can't hear you. You want to write it to me?
Thank you. Sharon, I think your microphone isn't working. I can see you're off mute, but we can't hear you.
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay. So thank you, Fran. And I suppose I've seen the DISC model before. So is with the change in times and people's kind of more education, is it that we still need to remind them of this, or like what's your experience? Because like a lot of folks my age kind of have done this multiple times, but
Yeah.
like is it something that we need to keep going a reminder back on because that influences your leadership style, or what's the, because when you say, oh, we're going to do a quick thing on DISC or whatever, what's the quick way of not selling the value but letting them know that it's good to do it again?
I think actually you don't need to if you do it once, but I think it's keep repeating it in the sort of team meetings. We've done our colours. Can anybody remember what they are? And they go, yeah, da, da, da. And then you ask them some questions about how are we still using it? How do you think we can keep using it? And how, for example, we're going to get a new person. So do you think we should check what colour they are before we hire? Just reminding people of its usefulness. And then if they've got sort of customers to influence or other teams to influence, have you thought about the colour? Just asking, really, I think it's your role as a leader to keep asking the questions about it rather than keep repeating actually doing the test, because actually over time you'll find people stay the same. So it's not really about repeating it, it's about how we use it. So to influence people, to communicate with people, other teams. And it's about you preparing some good questions and just throw them out there once a month. Oh, so, we've got this new director. What colour do you think he might be? There we are. And just keep reinforcing it.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Because it's all about this individual difference, that we're all different, and we need to keep remembering that we're different and we're not working the same way and we won't ever work the same way. It's not possible. Yeah. So final slide is about the fact that this difference is not bad. It's just different. And it's about leveraging our power, knowing what colours we are, knowing we can't change anybody else, but we can change how we respond or react to them. There's this idea of responsibility, here's our response, and we've got an ability to act, to respond accordingly to whatever's been thrown at us. We can only choose to change, but feedback of people will help us to change in a good way. And then this model is just about understanding yourself, understanding others, improving your relationships with people by adapting to their style. And what it does do for organizations, it introduces a language. So people can say, what color are you? And the instant, if they say they're red, you know how to work with them, that you're just going to do, bullet points rather than a whole raft of detail. So any other questions? We've literally got a minute left for anything that anybody else wants to ask me.
Also, if any questions come up later, you can contact us and we'll follow up with Fran, or you can directly link with Fran through her website or probably LinkedIn. And I'm sure Fran will be happy to guide you and answer any questions. Thanks very much for your time and sharing your lunch break with us. I hope you find it as valuable and informative as I did. Personally, I use DISC exercises during some team norming activities with the teams. and also retrospective. So I am sure this is a great exercise for the team bonding and establishing team norms.
Mm-hmm. Good.
And thank you very
everybody.
much for your time as well, Fran.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you.